I'm going to begin with the testes, and testes is a scientific name. The testes are located in the scrotum, which is below the penis. I'm going to start with some medical things and diseases with them. I'll start with testicular torsion, which needs to be surgically taken care of. Ortitis, which you need antibiotics. Varchicle is needed for surgery, and testicular cancer, which is genetic and needs either surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy. The testes give off the hormone testosterone, which is a lipid, and the testosterone is the development of male reproductive tissues as well as increased muscle and bone mass and body hair growth. Now, testosterone has a negative feedback loop, and to get the testosterone back to level, the cells in hypothalamus secrete GnRH, and the GnRH levels in the blood decrease LH, and this brings the testosterone levels back to normal. The next one I'm going to be doing is the ovaries, which is the scientific name. The ovaries are in the left and right side of the pelvic cavity. The ovaries are connected to the uterus, and some different medical issues with them. There is a cyst, which you can get on your ovaries, which you just need birth control or surgery. Endometriosis, you just need hormones or surgery again. Premature ovarian failure, you just need hormones. Polycystic ovary syndrome, you need birth control. And then ovarian cancer, which is genetic, you need chemotherapy or surgery. The ovaries give off two hormones, which is progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone is an amino acid which prepares the body for conception and pregnancy and regulates the menstrual cycle and plays a role in sexual desire. While estrogen is a peptide and controls the growth of the uterine lining during the first part of the menstrual cycle, causes changes in the breast during adolescence and pregnancy. Now, progesterone and estrogen are the same because they both have negative feedback loops, and they are both the same on how their levels return, which is GnRH is released, which releases FSH and LH. And because they're in the circulation now, these two, estrogen and progesterone, are back to normal. The next one is uterus, and the uterus is the scientific name and is located in the lower abdomen, which is between the rectum and bladder. And some medical diseases or whatever is uterine fibroids, which you need medicine, and then there is pelvic inflammatory disease, which you need antibiotics. Menorrhagia, which you need surgically remove your uterus or medicine, and then uterine cancer, which is genetic, you either need to remove your uterus, chemotherapy, or radiation. Like the ovaries, the uterus gives off estrogen and progesterone, and as I mentioned earlier, the estrogen is a peptide and the progesterone is amino acid, and the same thing, negative loops and how they return back to normal levels. Now, something just to throw in, oxytocin, which the brain produces, actually regulates the uterus during childbirth. The placenta, which is the scientific name, is located in the uterus. And now some different medical diseases and problems is the intrauterine growth restriction, which there's no treatment. All you can do is monitor the baby to make sure it's okay. Molar pregnancy is remove the tumor. And placental infiltration, and there's no treatment. And then placental aberration, which means that the placenta is moving away from the uterus, so it's not really attached. So all you can do is see how far the separation is. If the baby is almost at full term, they recommend a C-section. I could not find any genetic diseases in the placenta. Now, the placenta, just like the ovaries and uterus, produces estrogen and progesterone, which progesterone is amino acid and estrogen is a peptide, which the main idea of estrogen is to control the growth of the uterine lining, and progesterone, the main idea is to prepare the body for conception and pregnancy. Same thing, negative feedback.
Parathyroid. What are parathyroid glands? Parathyroid glands are four small glands of the endocrine system which regulate the calcium in our bodies. Parathyroid glands are located in the neck behind the thyroid, where they continuously monitor and regulate blood calcium levels. What do parathyroid glands do? Parathyroid glands control the calcium levels in our blood, in our bones, and throughout our body. Parathyroid glands regulate the calcium by producing a hormone called parathyroid hormone, or PTH, calcium, and the most important element in our bodies. We use it to control many organ systems, so calcium is regulated more carefully than any other element. In fact, calcium is the only element with its own regulatory system, the parathyroid gland. Where are parathyroid glands located? Parathyroid glands are normally the size of a grain of rice. Occasionally, they can be as large as a pea and still be normal. The four parathyroid are located behind the thyroid. Normal parathyroid glands are the color of spicy yellow mustard. Remember, the parathyroids are behind the thyroid. Parathyroid glands in one big disease 1. This is a typical situation of a patient with parathyroid disease. One of the parathyroid glands grows into a tumor and makes too much hormone. If you have parathyroid diseases, you were likely have 3 normal parathyroid glands, the size of a grain of rice, and 1 parathyroid tumor that is as big as an olive, grape, or even a walnut. If you have parathyroid disease, also known as hyperparathyroidism, you will need an operation to remove 1 parathyroid gland which has become a tumor. Amino acid in parathyroid. Parathyroid hormone, also known as PTH, is secreted by the parathyroid gland as a polypeptide containing 84 amino acids. It acts to increase the concentration of calcium in the blood. Facts about parathyroid. When the calcium in our blood goes too low, the parathyroid gland makes more PTH. Increased PTH causes the body to put more calcium into the blood. Increased PTH causes the bones to release their calcium into the blood. When the calcium in our blood goes too high, normal parathyroid glands stop making PTH. Calcium is the most important element for the nervous system, the muscular system, and the skeletal system. Calcium provides the electrical system for our nerves and muscles, allowing the nerves to conduct electricity and the muscles to contract. This is why parathyroid disease, overproduction of PTH from a parathyroid tumor leading to high blood calcium, causes symptoms of the brain, muscles, and bones. The best thing a person can do to aid the parathyroid glands is to eat a healthy diet that contains calcium and vitamin D. Since vitamin D aids in the absorption of calcium, good sources of calcium include milk, cheese, yogurt, kale, watercress, spinach, broccoli. Good sources of vitamin D include fish, beef liver, mushrooms, fortified milk, cereal, and orange juice.
The pancreas. Pancreas is a large gland behind the stomach that secretes digestive enzymes into the duodenum. Embedded in the pancreas as islets of Langerhans which secrete into the blood hormones insulin and glucagon. The pancreas is about 6 inches long and sits across the back of the abdomen behind the stomach. The pancreas produces 2 antagonistic hormones to control blood sugar, glucagon and insulin. The abbreviation for insulin is INS and glucagon is GCG. The pancreas does produce amino acids. They are in the form of proteins and are initiated by the pepsin in the stomach, but the bulk of the protein digestion is due to the pancreatic proteases. Several proteases are synthesized in the pancreas and secreted into the lumen of the small intestine. Enzymes are secreted by the pancreas into the small intestine. There it continues breaking down the food that has left the stomach. The pancreas also produces the hormone insulin and secretes the body's glucose or sugar level. It controls an exocrine function that helps in digestion and an endocrine function that regulates blood sugar. It has 2 feedback loops. When glucose level goes down, the blood sugar, glucose, drops. The pancreas detects the drop in blood sugar. The pancreas then switches on the output of glucagon into the blood. Glucagon signals the liver to break down glycogen into glucose. The liver releases glucose into the bloodstream. Blood glucose goes up into normal set point, and then the pancreas detects the rise in blood sugar and switches off glucagon release. When the glucose level rises, the blood sugar, glucose, rises. The pancreas detects the rise. The pancreas pumps out insulin into the blood. Insulin helps the uptake of glucose into muscles and other cells. This causes the glucose level to fall to its normal set point, and the pancreas detects the fall, which switches off insulin production. There are many diseases of the pancreas, but two of the main ones are pancreatic cancer and pancreatitis. Pancreatic cancer is when malignant cells form in the pancreas. The treatment for pancreatic cancer is chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and surgery. Pancreatitis is the inflammation of the pancreas. This happens when the pancreas enzymes are activated before they are released into the small intestine. Treatments for pancreatitis are low-fat diet, cholecystectomy, IV fluids and IV replacements, and surgery. And while there are many more pancreatic diseases that come from the pancreas, these are only a few of the diseases and treatments that it carries. This has been my presentation over the pancreas.
The name of my gland is the kidney. The kidneys are bean-shaped organs that are located against the back muscles in the upper abdominal area. They sit opposite each other on both the left and right side of the body. The right kidney, however, sits a little lower to the left to accommodate the size of the liver. The kidney secretes a variety of hormones, including erythropoietin, calcitriol, and renin. Erythropoietin is released in response to hypoxia. In the renal circulation, it stimulates erythropoiesis. The abbreviation for erythropoietin is EPO. Erythropoietin is an amino acid. Erythropoietin is a hormone produced by the kidney that promotes the formation of red blood cells by the bone marrow. The kidney cells that make erythropoietin are sensitive to low oxygen levels in the blood that travels through the kidney. Erythropoietin controls the red blood cell production. Erythropoietin is a glycoprotein hormone produced in the kidney that acts on erythroid progenitor cells in the red bone marrow. A negative feedback system in which tissue oxygenation controls EPO production and EPO controls red blood cell production. It provides homeostasis and oxygen delivered to body tissue. The target cells for the action of EPO are committed erythroid progenitor cells, which have specific receptors for the hormone. The EPO receptor is a member of a larger family of hematopoietic growth factor receptors. No known second messenger system has been implicated in signal transduction from the EPO receptor, although EPO may have some effect on mitosis in early erythroid progenitor cells. Its controls of RBC production appears to occur in later stages of erythroid cell development, where it prevents programmed cell death. Chronic kidney disease, also known as chronic kidney failure, describes the gradual loss of the kidney's function. Your kidneys filter waste and excess fluids from your blood, which are then excreted in your urine. When chronic kidney disease reaches an advanced stage, dangerous levels of fluid, electrolytes, and waste can build up in your body. In the early stages of chronic kidney disease, you may have few signs or symptoms. Chronic kidney disease may not become apparent until your kidney function is significantly impaired. Treatment for chronic kidney disease focuses on slowing the progression of the kidney damage, usually by controlling the underlying cause. Chronic kidney disease can progress to end-stage kidney failure, which is fatal without an artificial filtering or a kidney transplant. Some signs and symptoms include nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, fatigue and weakness, sleep problems, changes in how much you urinate, decreased mental sharpness, muscle twitches and cramps, swelling of feet and ankles, persistent itching, chest pain if fluid builds up around the lining of the heart, shortness of breath if fluid builds up in the lungs, and high blood pressure that's difficult to control. Some medications you can take are vitamins, calcium reducers, bone marrow stimulants, diuretic, dietary supplements, surgery, or talk to a specialist. In adults, renal cell carcinoma is the most common type of kidney cancer. It's about 90% of cancerous tumors. Other less common types of kidney cancer can occur. Young children are more likely to develop a kind of kidney cancer called Williams tumor. Some symptoms of kidney cancer include blood in your urine, which may appear pink, red, or cola-colored, pain in your back or side that doesn't go away, loss of appetite, unexplained weight loss, tiredness, fever, which usually comes and goes. Radical nephrectomy is a common type of surgery used to cure kidney cancer.
Thymus. The thymus is located in the upper anterior part of your chest, directly behind your sternum and between your lungs. The hormone produced by the thymus is thymosin, thymopoietin, and PTH. These hormone acids are short polypeptides and amino acids. What the thymosin regulates and controls. The thymosin stimulates the development of disease-fighting T cells. What thymopoietin regulates and controls. Thymopoietin affects the body's capacity to maintain youthful function in everything from skin cells to the brain. How the thymosin regulates. Thymosin stimulates the development of T cells throughout your childhood years. White blood cells called lymphocytes pass through the thymus where they are transformed into T cells. Once T cells have fully matured in the thymus, they migrate to the lymph nodes, which is a group of immune system cells throughout the body, where they aid the immune system in fighting disease. However, some lymphocytes, regardless if they reside in the lymph nodes or thymus, can develop into cancers known as Hodgkin disease and non-Hodgkin lymphomas. How thymopoietin regulates. Polypeptide hormone secreted by the thymus, which induces the proliferation of lymphocyte precursors and their differentiation into T lymphocytes. The thymopoietin gene encodes through alternatively spliced mRNAs encoding proteins of 75 kDa, 51 kDa, and 39 kDa, which are ubiquitously expressed in all cells. The human TMPO gene maps, TMPO gene maps to chromosome band 12q22 and consists of 8 exons. TMPO alpha is present diffusely expressed with the cell's nucleus, while TMSO beta and gamma. Thymus diseases. Several genetic defects cause thymus problems from birth. A rare condition called Several genetic defects cause thymus problems from birth. A rare condition called severe combined immune deficiency, or SCID, develops when a person carries a mutation in a gene that regulates development of T cells. Myasthenia gravis is associated with a thymus gland that does not shrink but remains large after birth and functions normally. Each type of thymic disorders can be treated and in many cases cured. Congenital immune deficiency, such as that caused by SCID, has been successfully treated through bone marrow transplantation or gene therapy. A severe case of DiGeorge syndrome might be treated with a thymus transplant. Treatments for myasthenia gravis depends on disease severity. The condition is often controlled through use of medications that improve muscle function or suppress production of abnormal antibodies made by immune cells. Treatments for thymic cancer vary. Options include surgery, chemotherapy, drugs, and radiation therapy.
The hypothalamus plays a significant role in the endocrine system. It is responsible for maintaining your body's internal balance, which is known as homeostasis. To do this, the hypothalamus helps stimulate or inhibit many of our body's key processes, including heart rate and blood pressure, body temperature, fluid and electrolyte, including thirst, appetite and body weight, glandular secretions of the stomach and intestines, production of substances that influence the pituitary gland to release hormone and sleep cycles. The hypothalamus is involved in many functions of the autonomic nervous system, as it receives information from nearly all parts of the nervous system. As such, it is considered the link between the nervous system and the endocrine system. The hypothalamus is located below the thalamus, a part of the brain that relays sensory information, and above the pituitary gland and the brainstem. The hypothalamus is about the size of an almond. The hypothalamus is highly involved in pituitary gland function. There are 6 primary hormones produced by the hypothalamus. When it receives a signal from the nervous system, the hypothalamus secretes substances known as neurohormones and start to stop the secretion and pituitary hormones. These hormones include ADH, antidiuretic hormone, which is a peptide, This hormone increases water absorption into the blood by the kidneys. CRH, corticotropin releasing hormone, which is also a peptide. CRH sends a message to the anterior pituitary gland to stimulate the adrenal glands to release corticosteroids, which help regulate metabolism and immune response. GnRH, which is gonadotropin releasing hormone, it is also a peptide. GnRH stimulates the anterior pituitary to release follicle stimulating hormones, also known as FSH, and luteinizing hormone, LH, which work together to ensure normal functioning of the ovaries and testes. Growth hormone releasing hormone, GHRH, it's a peptide, also known as somatostatin. GHIH has the opposite effect. In kids, GH is essential to maintaining a healthy body composition. In adults, it helps healthy bone and muscle mass and affects fat distribution. OXT, oxytocin, which is a peptide. Oxytocin is involved in a variety of processes such as orgasm, the ability to trust, body temperature, sleep cycles, and the release of breast milk. Prolactin releasing hormone, PRH, is a peptide, or prolactin inhibiting hormone, PIH, also known as dopamine. PIH prompts the anterior pituitary to stimulate breast milk production through hormones, which stimulates release of thyroid hormones, which regulate metabolism, energy, growth, and development. Hypothalamic dysfunction is a problem in the part of the hypothalamus. There are many causes of hypothalamic dysfunction. The most are surgery, traumatic brain injury, tumors, and radiation. Other causes include nutrition problems such as eating disorders, otherwise known as anorexia, extreme weight loss, blood vessel problems in the brain such as aneurysm, and subarachnoid hemorrhage, genetic disorders such as Prader-Willi syndrome, familial diabetes insipidus, Kallmann syndrome, and infections and swelling and inflammation. The treatment often depends on the cause of hypothalamic dysfunction. For tumors, surgery or radiation may be needed. For hormonal deficiencies, missing hormones need to be replaced by taking medicine.
What is the name of your gland? I have the adrenal gland. Where is it located? They are located on top of each kidney. Their name directly relates to their location. Ad, meaning near, or at, and renes, meaning kidneys. What hormone is produced, and abbreviation for the hormone? Cortisol, and the abbreviation is F, and it is a lipid base. Aldosterone, also the abbreviation is A, or ALDO, is also a lipid base. Another hormone is adrenocorticotropic hormone, abbreviation ACTH, and it is an amino acid. Another hormone is dihydroepiandrosterone, abbreviation DHEA or DHA, which is an amino acid. And then the last hormone is adrenocortical hormone, abbreviation ACTH, also like the one I said above, and it is indeed also an amino acid. Now you may ask, what do they regulate? Where the cortisol hormone can help control blood sugar levels, regulate metabolism, help reduce inflammation, and assist with memory formulation. It has a controlling effect on salt and water balance and helps control blood pressure. It has a negative feedback loop. Now, aldosterone acts mainly in the function unit of the kidneys to aid in the conservation of sodium secretion, of the potassium water retention, and to stabilize blood sugar, and it has a negative feedback loop. Adrenocorticotropic regulates. It stimulates secretion of the glucocorticoids, such as cortisol, and has little control over secretion of aldosterone, the other major steroid hormone, from the adrenal cortex. It has a negative feedback loop. And DHEA, the major androgens secreted by the human adrenal gland. It has a positive feedback loop. Adrenocortical helps with regulate metabolism and helps your body respond to stress. And aldosterone, which helps control blood pressure, it has a negative feedback loop. Now here are some diseases and the treatment of it. Adrenal gland disorder causing from genetic mutation, tumors, infection, certain medications, treatment, surgery to remove the tumor, or medication. Addison's disease is another disease. When your body produces insufficient amounts of certain hormones, treatments involve taking hormones to replace those not produced by the adrenal gland. Now, adrenal tumor symptoms are excess hair. Treatments are surgery or cortisol replacement medication. Now, adrenal insufficiency is when your body produces insufficient hormones. Medication is steroid treatment, consists of steroids, yes. Treatment involves hormones to replace those not produced by the gland. It's just like the Addison. Now, some cancers are adrenal cancer. It is a condition that occurs when abnormal cells form in traveling to the adrenal glands. Treatment is surgery, which is the main treatment you can do, or there are some medications that will slow it down but will not stop it.